Good morning, Pittsburgh, and welcome to Pitt to the Point. I'm Jamie Ely.
And I'm Josh Byrne. Thank you for tuning in this morning. Pitt to the Point is your 1-hour news and magazine program that airs live from the state-of-the-art Pitt studios.
Over the next hour, we'll be bringing you all the latest happenings from the University of Pittsburgh, all the way to the Point and beyond.
Join us as we bring you all the latest from the world of politics, medicine, entertainment, sports, and what's happening right here on Pitt's campus and in the city of Pittsburgh.
Also coming up, we have the latest about what's happening in the realm of business and technology and how that can affect your life.
And later, we will be fortunate enough to be joined by our regional campus reporter, Paige Allen, to hear all about what's happening in Bradford, Greensburg, Titusville, and Johnstown, as well as by our college and high school correspondents to hear what's happening in their areas.
But most importantly, we're getting you folks ready to start this beautiful Pittsburgh morning off right. So grab your coffee and settle in because this show is jam-packed today. And unfortunately, we do begin today with some somber news as one officer was killed and another one was injured after a shooting in McKeesport on Monday.
Officer Sean Slogansky died and Officer Charles Thomas were escorted to the hospital in serious condition. Fortunately, Thomas is now stable.
The suspect, Jonathan Morris, was also injured in an exchange with a third officer and was taken to the hospital before being charged.
According to an interview conducted by WPXI, Officer Sean Slogansky was described as a dedicated and loving officer.
Slogansky joined the McKeesport force 2 years ago and was quickly identified as an asset to the team.
That's right. A graduate of Baldwin Whitehall School District, Slogansky was an avid high school ice hockey player growing up.
A teddy bear with a letter addressed to the McKeesport police family marks the spot where Officer Slogansky passed. He was 32.
Arrangements have been made for the official fallen officers' both viewing and funeral.
The viewing for Officer Sean Slogansky will be at the John Slater Funeral Home in Brentwood.
The funeral will take place on Tuesday at the St. Albert the Great Church in Baldwin.
The funeral mass will take place at noon on Tuesday, funeral home officials said.
Visitation will take place on Sunday from noon to 8 p.m. as well as from Monday from 2 to 9 p.m. at the John F. Slater Funeral Home, 4201 Brownsville Road, Brentwood.
Sean Slogansky was the fiancé of Chelsea Cancilla and the father of Haven Slogansky. He is survived by his mother, Terry, 2 sisters, nieces, aunts, uncles, and his dogs, Sig and Knox.
In other news, last Friday, a cargo train carrying more than 100 cars partially derailed.
The derailment took place in the small town of East Palestine, Ohio, near southwestern Pennsylvania state line.
About 50 of the 100 cars rode off the tracks at about 9 p.m. Friday evening.
According to rail operator Norfolk Southern on Saturday, the train was carrying a variety of products from Madison, Illinois to Conway, Pennsylvania. The fallout from the derailment was destructive to the local community.
According to the member of the National Transportation Board, the impact of the accident caused a fire that spanned about as long as the length of the 50 derailed train cars.
This prompted monitoring of the area by the Environmental Protection Agency.
Norfolk Southern reported that 20 of the 50 derailed cars contained hazardous materials, particularly vinyl chloride.
This substance is generally used to produce plastic products and is associated with various forms of cancer, according to the National Cancer Institute.
Our team got in touch with one of those ladies who was personally affected by the local derailment.
I'm Lisa Marie Sopko. I'm from Kindred Spirits Rescue Ranch in South Beaver Township, Pennsylvania. Several counties, some people came from over an hour away with trailers to help to evacuate us, which was absolutely amazing. All of our animals did just so well. We had an outpouring of support from the Hookstown area. We do have still some concerns about like our water table. So make sure that our well water is safe for the animals and free of chemicals.
Inhalation of vinyl chloride has been associated with cancer, prompting the mayor of East Palestine to order the evacuation of all citizens within a 1-mile radius of the derailment.
Once it was announced that Norfolk Southern would administer a controlled release of the toxic chemicals on Monday, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro encouraged residents near the train to evacuate or risk death, and for those within 2-mile radius to shelter in place.
Federal investigators announced on Sunday that the dangerous derailment was due to a mechanical issue with a rail car axle.
President Joe Biden addressed the nation this week with the State of the Union address.
The president emphasized a message of unity and the recent accomplishments through bipartisan reform.
For more reaction to the president's address, we'll send it to our political reporter, Alexandra Ross. Alexandra?
Thank you, Josh. We are going to bring you guys those reactions from the State of the Union address, but first, I want to bring some updates about Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman, who was hospitalized on Wednesday after he reported feeling lightheaded. Fetterman's health became a significant issue on the campaign trail last spring after he suffered a stroke in May. As of last night, doctors are still uncertain about the cause of his condition. It could be minor, it could be serious, but they have done extensive testing that has ruled out another stroke. Earlier in the week, this heckling during the State of the Union address is pretty much to be expected, and we certainly saw a lot of that from congressional Republicans. But what's a little more unexpected is the president fighting back. At his third State of the Union address Tuesday night, President Biden took the time to highlight some of his accomplishments as president, including infrastructure and prescription drug prices.
If drug prices rise faster than inflation, drug companies are going to have to pay Medicare back the difference. We're finally giving Medicare the power to negotiate drug prices. Bringing down prescription drug costs doesn't just save seniors money, it cuts the federal deficit by billions of dollars.
Biden also called for stronger abortion protections, creating American jobs, and police reform. He invited the parents of Tyree Nichols, a recent victim of police brutality, to attend the speech. Although Biden pushed bipartisan cooperation in his speech, he sparred with Republicans over allegations that they want to cut Social Security and Medicare. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia among those shouting, "Liar."
Some Republicans want Medicare and Social Security to sunset. I'm not saying it's a majority. Let me give you, anybody who doubts it, contact my office. I'll give you a copy of the proposal.
In the Republicans' response to the State of the Union address, Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders said the president's speech signified a need for Republican leadership.
From out-of-control inflation and violent crime to the dangerous border crisis and threat from China, Biden and the Democrats have failed you.
Many saw this speech as an unofficial launch of Biden's re-election campaign. His approval rating about 45% in the days prior to his speech. About 72% of viewers had a positive reaction to the speech, and roughly 71% said the policies Biden proposed will move the country in the right direction. In other news, a little closer to home, Democrats won 3 special elections in Allegheny County this week. These were solidly blue districts, so this was expected, but it cements a razor-thin margin in the Pennsylvania State House of Representatives for the Democrats. Joining the State House will be Joe McAndrew in the 32nd District, Matthew Gergely in the 35th District, and Abigail Salisbury, who actually attended and taught at Pitt. She will be serving the 34th District. For Pitt to the Point, I'm your political reporter, Alexandra Ross. Josh, Jamie?
Alexandra. Now, ever since the dawn of the century, technology has crept into our lives in a more robust way.
Exactly. More powerful computers, the rise of smartphones, and more recently, the growth of artificial intelligence.
While many of these devices have made our lives easier, they have also led to stronger concerns over cybersecurity.
With American media buzzing about the alleged Chinese spy balloons, those concerns only continue to grow, Jamie.
Of course. Now, for more on this and its far-reaching impacts on companies, we turn to our business and technology reporter, David Allman. David?
Thanks, Jamie. Last week, a surveillance balloon sent over by China soared across U.S. skies. Initially spotted in Billings, Montana, was eventually shot down in Surfside Beach, South Carolina, by the U.S. Air Force. As far as we know, surveillance balloon was carrying a heavy payload, which is estimated to be around the size of 3 buses, as per what was discovered in the debris. Here we have the footage of Todd Leggins, who is a former Saxonburg, PA resident who captured the footage of the balloon being shot down. I spoke with Todd last week, and he said that he was concerned at how unhasty the U.S. acted in shooting down the balloon, saying that it should have been shot down upon sight. Little is to be known about what was sent by the balloon, but many speculate that it was broadcast to China via live stream. Last week, I also had the privilege of speaking to computer science professors at the University of Pittsburgh to talk about how this may aid future technological endeavors in China, and how this affects our cybersecurity, really raising the question about what in this country is truly unassailable. From Pitt to the Point, I'm your business and technology reporter, David Altman. Jamie, Josh?
Thanks, David. A Pittsburgh native received accolades this past Thursday at the NFL Honors.
Buffalo Bills safety and former Panther Damar Hamlin received the Alan Page Community Award for Chasing M's Foundation. However, it wasn't him receiving the award that caught most of the attention that night. It was who was up on the stage with him.
Hamlin accepted his award surrounded by a group of medical personnel that saved his life. In his speech, Hamlin credited these people, as well as his family and friends, for helping him make a speedy recovery.
Hamlin was honored, rightfully so, for his work with Chasing M's Foundation, which supports early childhood education efforts in McKeesport, Pennsylvania. Since he collapsed on the field in an early January game, Hamlin has raised over $9 million with support from both fans and the NFL. Well, it's that time of year again, Jamie. I hope you have your chicken fingers and guacamole ready because the big game is just 2 days away.
Oh, you know I have both of those. This year is a battle between 2 NFL heavyweights in the Eagles and the Chiefs, and will feature a halftime performance from pop legend Rihanna.
Now, whether you're a casual fan or a diehard, there is always something to keep an eye on when the lights shine bright.
For more on what to look for inside and outside of the huddle, we turn to our city sports reporter, Nick Faribaugh. Nick, I heard you made some friends with some of the players this week.
Yeah, there are plenty of Pittsburgh connections in Arizona this week for the big game. Former Steeler Juju Smith-Schuster will be playing for the Chiefs, and there are a few Whippeal stars in there, Miles Sanders and Sky Moore, and of course, former Pitt Panther Avonte Maddox will be there. They don't forget their roots. They don't forget Pittsburgh on their way to the big game, but all of them are vying for the same thing, to win the big one.
Playing in Pittsburgh for 5 years, love Pittsburgh, love the Steelers, but, making the decision to come here and play, and it's actually crazy because, like you said, it's real, it's happening.
After the 2022 season, Smith-Schuster bet on himself, and it's paying off.
No, my mindset was always the same. My mindset was always, compete and go to the Super Bowl. And today, my mindset's still the same, and it's actually happening.
Always facing negativity, Smith-Schuster has some advice for his fans.
Man, so obviously, whatever you do in life, no matter who you are, you're always going to have negativity. But at the end of the day, you got to stay true to yourself. Be authentic, be yourself. Don't change for anyone.
There's plenty of other Pittsburgh connections in the big game. The Eagles starting running back Miles Sanders is a budding star. He's a Woodland Hills alum. Sky Moore, he is a first-year wide receiver for the Chiefs, and he is a Shadyside Academy alum who played with Dino Tomlin, Mike Tomlin's son. And Avonte Maddox, he's a former Pitt cornerback, played for 4 years under Pat Narduzzi. He has turned himself into a multi-year starter with the Eagles. But none of the players forget that Pittsburgh molded them.
12-year-old me seen me. I know 12-year-old me probably would have asked for autograph. And if it was me looking down on young me, I would just say, just be patient. Be patient, follow the course, follow the right course, and just stick to it. You got it.
Sanders is channeling some underdog energy for the Eagles this Sunday.
People still counting us out, not thinking that we a good team or whatever, but we just took it 1 week at a time, 1 day at a time, and grind. And then Sunday, that's when the party starts.
Sanders and the Eagles believed that they could make it here the whole time.
Probably late in the
Playing in Pittsburgh.
And listen, the big game, it's going to be big for these players. None of them have won a Super Bowl. So all these Pittsburgh connections, someone is walking away with their first win in the big game this Sunday. But also happening in Pittsburgh on big game weekend, former Pitt wide receiver Trey Tipton and local Pittsburgh artist Vinny Candelore, they are hosting a special event. It's going to be Athlete Aesthetic Exhibit. It's going to be at Stage AE on Saturday at 6 p.m., $10 to enter. It'll be the intersection of sports and culture. You can get in there at any time after 6 p.m. It's an all-day event after that, and Tipton will be there. All of the proceeds go to charity. And the big game's going to be really, really ramped up. We'll see who walks away with the Lombardi Trophy on Sunday. It's at 6:30. Make sure to check it out and have some guacamole. As always, I am your Pitt City sports reporter, Nick Fairbaugh, sending it back to the guys. Jamie, Josh.
Thanks, Nick. Pittsburgh isn't the only home of the Panthers. Wait until you find out what's going on this week over in Greensburg with our regional campus reporter.
Also, the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette has been producing news content for decades, but now they are in some hot water with their staff.
And of course, it's almost time for the college and high school report featuring my alma mater.
All that and more coming up on Pitt to the Point. Stay tuned, folks.
The backyard brawl is officially back and in the books.
Stefanski just shoots and he scores. They're the winningest team in Pittsburgh history.
Ball sent in. Sullivan, Pittsburgh, 1-0.
Great strike, Michael Sullivan.
Pittsburgh has a share of the ACC title in 2022.
The record set by Tony Dorsett has been broken by Israel Abanikanda here.
The Pitt Panthers are going into the next round for the first time in program history.
We are the University of Pittsburgh, forged in a blue-collar city with gold standards, where innovators, researchers, thinkers, and healers are always reaching for new heights. There is no limit to what we can accomplish when we put our minds, our hands, our soul, and spirit to it. Here, progress is always in progress. Hail to Pitt, proud partner of the ACC.
Thanks for tuning back in to Pitt to the Point. Watch the story today that piques your curiosity? Want to find out more about what's going on in Pittsburgh? Well, then visit our website.
Yeah, you'd be really smart to do so. If you want to find out more about the world of politics, medicine, business, and technology, log on to pittothepoint.com.
Not only can you see clips from today's show, but you can also read about the topics that interest you and more. Check it out at pittothepoint.com.
Pitt is always looking for new ways to drive education forward into the future. Not only can this innovation be found on main campus, but also on regional campuses as well.
At Pitt Greensburg, one way they're preparing the leaders of tomorrow is through upgrades to their educational facilities. Our regional campus reporter, Paige Allen, has more on one way Pitt Greensburg has stepped up their game in the life sciences field. Paige?
Thanks, Jamie. Just like Bradford, Pitt Greensburg has also opened a new university building this January. Their new life sciences building will now house all of their nursing and science majors, allowing them the opportunity to use both equipment and technology that will strengthen their studies in their field.
The University of Pittsburgh at Greensburg opened the doors to its new life sciences building in the beginning of January. The 32,085 square foot facility opens opportunities for science majors across campus, including nursing, health science, biology, microbiology, and chemistry, With lab rooms to accompany each of these majors, the building shows true potential to give students experience with the technology and equipment that will be crucial to their desired job field.
So it really has given us a lot more space in our skills lab. It's provided us with the area for 2 simulation rooms. So we will have mechanical mannequin patients in there who we are able to program and have them respond to the students in real time and allow for some safe learning environments where the students don't have to worry about making a mistake. So we can identify those areas of weakness and implement ways to help them improve in those areas. We also gained this space for a telehealth room, which will allow us to provide some education in how nurses use telehealth to deliver their care and manage their patients.
I think that the new Life Sciences building is the perfect asset to our nursing program, and I believe it will help our program excel in the future.
This new skills lab offers an opportunity for the faculty to be together. We can throw ideas past each other. Plus we get to see, I actually get to see students now. And I think we're more visual now. People can see what nurses really do. I think that's one of the other benefits.
After getting a full tour of both Pitt Bradford's and Pitt Greensburg's new university building, it's safe to say that Pitt is definitely dedicated to giving their students access to the best resources for their education. From Pitt to the Point, I'm your regional campus reporter, Paige Allen. Jamie, Josh?
Thanks so much, Paige. Great work as always. I got to ask you, going to Greensburg now, seeing the new infrastructure, what advantage do you think that gives that regional campuses over the other ones around the state?
So I have to say that simulation suite that I believe that Amy was talking about is really cool. It's like a two-way mirror. So professors can watch their student nurses work on a patient without them proctoring them, being in the building, kind of seeing how they would react in a real life environment. And I think that that's very helpful for their education.
Well, thank you so much, Paige, and I hope you enjoyed Pitt Greensburg. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette is making news for all the wrong reasons.
The executives who run the paper have allegedly mistreated their employees as far back as 2017.
What started as frustration over a lack of health benefits has led to a coalition of strikers spanning over 100 employees. On January 26 of this year, an administrative judge for the National Labor Relations Board ruled that the Post-Gazette negotiated with their employees in bad faith.
As a consequence, the Post-Gazette was ordered to end all illegal activity and reopen salary negotiations.
Our team caught up with some current employees.
Our contract last expired in 2017. So we've been without a contract now for 6 years. We negotiated with the company in good faith for several years, and then the company declared an impasse in bargaining in summer of 2020, and they imposed work rules on us. So we've been on strike since October. The decision from the NLRB judge shows that we are right, that the company is breaking the law, that the company can end this if it wants to end it.
With so many newsworthy events happening on campus all the time, it can be hard to keep up. That's where our award-winning newspaper, the Pitt News, comes in.
Here are the top headlines from our award-winning newspaper. It's the Pitt News on Pitt to the Point.
A new student-founded website is launching to connect students over food. The organization, previously titled Potluck, is now rebranding to Greetings. The web app aims to create groups to meet in person over food. The Greetings web app will be released this March. Have you ever wondered what happened to the pigeons who frequented the newly non-existent parklet on 5th Avenue? Pitt's Birding and Ornithology Club president, Garrett Sisk, said that the pigeons are safe without the grass, even with the additional construction in Oakland. A university spokesman said that Pitt is seeking to improve habitat areas for the pigeons once the construction is complete. This semester, Pitt's College of General Studies released a new certificate. Students can now get an 18-credit certificate in disability studies. The certificate includes classes from 8 different departments. About 10 students have declared their certificate.
I definitely think this is something a lot of students would be interested in, whether or not they haven't really made a network yet, or even if they have. They won one of the past Big Idea Center competition type things. They got second place in one of them. It's harder to make connections, and I thought I just thought it was a cool story that students should hear about.
You can find these stories and more at www.thepittnews.com or at any of the newsstands around campus. Last week, we got off to a great start with our new college and high school report, courtesy of the amazing students over at Montour High School's The Bus Loop. We got to see what was happening in their school community, as well as their community as a whole.
And this week, we're traveling about 4 hours east to see what's happening in Lancaster County with the Lancaster Catholic High School Crusaders. We now go to my alma mater, Lancaster Catholic High School, and their correspondents, Zach Snyder and Marina Brazo. Crusader Nation, what do you have going on in your neck of the woods?
Hi, Jamie and Josh. My name is Zach Snyder.
And my name is Marina Brazo.
We are dual enrollment students from Lancaster Catholic High School in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
As high school students, we are faced with the constant distraction of social media.
We looked from our student body's perspective to see what they really think social media is for, their stances, and their opinions on prominent platforms such as TikTok.
So, I'm going to get your take on what you think social media is for.
I think it's more for the purposes of entertainment rather than just being social.
I think social media is for promotion of ideas and content.
I think social media is for representing yourself and your ideas.
I really like TikTok, and I'm on it 3 hours a day.
I'm on it an hour and a half a day. I like it.
Do you guys see a difference in your work ethic and your attention span when you scroll on TikTok more?
Most definitely, absolutely. It distracts me.
I mean, I like TikTok, and I usually spend 3 hours on TikTok.
Do you notice a difference in your day and your attention span on days that you're on TikTok more?
Not really. I mean, I'm pretty good time manager.
I mean, sometimes because I get bored doing work, and then I just hop on TikTok.
It is interesting to see the opinions that our student body has. As social media and technology grow, people are faced with deciding whether or not social media is helpful to them. Regardless of opinion, social media promotes connectivity and education in the world around us.
Back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Zach and Marina. Now I have to ask, there's a lot of talk about a TikTok ban with certain colleges and states governments and whatnot. Do you see a ban like that coming to high schools like Lancaster Catholic?
It's hard to say. We are actually having a technology-free day at the end of this month, so we'll see how many people participate in that.
And our school has already taken over a lot of problems with technology, such as AirPods and headphones. We completely eliminated the use of those so that students can be able to connect more thoroughly.
Yeah, we'll see. We do also have a TikTok for this class that we're in right now, so it would be kind of weird if they did ban it because we do make a lot of videos for our school, but we'll see.
Well, fair enough. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Geez, a technology ban, I know that would be hard for me. Coming up, are Pitt students being fed nutritious food on campus? The answer may surprise you. Also, could we see an end to the blood shortage? A Pitt UPMC initiative might have an answer.
We also have an exclusive with a Pitt alum and new director of a crucial part of Pitt. Stay tuned for all this and more on Pitt to the Point.
So one inventive tool that the University of Pittsburgh has is Pitt Funds Me. So Pitt Funds Me is for outside scholarships that you can review and apply for as well. There's 8,000 plus scholarships on that website. These scholarships have been vetted as good and reliable resources, so you can guarantee that these are not resources that are trying to steal money or trying to scam you in any way. Any student has access to this, even admitted students who have not deposited yet. When you go into your my.pitt.edu, you'll want to search in the Ask Kathy box, Pitt Funds Me, and make sure instead of an S in Pitt Funds Me, you're going to put a $sign. That will allow you to go into the portal to be able to look at all the outside scholarship opportunities that fit your specific profile. They will ask several questions. You do not have to answer all questions or any questions if you don't want to, but the more questions you answer, the more opportunities that become available to you to apply.
Welcome back to Pitt to the Point.
Studies show that students who eat 3 meals a day perform better in school and have more energy. However, some students on campus at Pitt are not afforded that opportunity.
For more on the struggles some students have in the dining halls, we go to our Pitt Beat reporter, Michelle Spiller. Michelle?
Thanks, Jamie. We heard recently that students at Pitt are all struggling with the dining hall. Students with dietary restrictions are the ones who are struggling to find food that are necessary. On-campus dining options should have food for everybody, but this isn't always the case. We went to go talk to some students with their dietary restrictions to see how they are reacting and concerned about the food in the dining halls.
The eatery and the porch are the 2 main on-campus dining locations. For breakfast, lunch, and dinner, students can swipe in and enjoy a meal. For students with dietary restrictions, finding a safe meal option can look a little more difficult.
To be gluten-free means that you essentially avoid 3 main foods. You avoid barley, wheat, and rye. I usually spend a lot of time in the dining hall. I live in Tower C, so I don't have a kitchen, so my main source of food is the dining hall. I'm contained to like one station that's really, really safe. So basically, if I don't like what's served there, I can't really eat anything else. You know, I'm on my own out here. I don't have my mom to kind of be like, oh, I made gluten-free pasta. Now I have to hunt for that myself. And I'm learning that gluten-free food is really expensive. So on a college budget, it's been very difficult to obtain. So I've been in contact with the dietitian and the nutritionalist. We've been working really closely to try and work on my personal diet, but also broaden what's available in the eatery so that way people like me have more foods to fall back on instead of just what's available on the main line.
Pitt Eats was unable to provide a comment about what else they have planned to assist dietary restrictions at this time, but students are excited to see more changes within the meals provided on campus.
Since I was like, hey, can we have a little more variety? Now it's like pork and chicken, and I saw pancakes this morning, which I have not seen my entire time here, which is absolutely amazing. So there's definitely been a change since I started speaking out. No one should wake up and think to themselves, am I going to eat today? They need to think, what am I going to eat today?
Along with making changes inside the dining hall, Pitt Eats just released on Instagram that the eatery at Towers will be having a full renovation starting in May 2023. This renovation will include a fully new and improved allergen-friendly station. From Pitt to the Point, I'm Pitt Beat reporter Michelle Spiller. Jamie, Josh?
Now, the U.S. has been facing a shortage of blood for a few years, but that problem has gotten exponentially worse since the beginning of the pandemic in 2020.
However, Pitt and UPMC are looking to remedy that problem. For more on their innovative solution, we go to our Medical Minute reporter, Joey Tebben. Joey?
1,000 people per year in the U.S. suffer preventable deaths due to traumatic bleeding. Most of these happen outside of the hospital. They happen in the home, in an ambulance, in the helicopter, because they simply can't get to fresh blood fast or easily enough. But the University of Pittsburgh and UPMC announced on Thursday their initiative in a new program to hopefully bring this number down by producing shelf-stable, artificial, dried whole blood within the next 10 years. Joining us right now in the studio virtually is one of the people behind Pitt's contingent in this program, Dr. Philip C. Spinella of Pitt's Trauma and Transfusion Medicine Research Center. Dr. Spinella, thanks for joining us on Pitt to the Point.
Good morning, Joey. How are you?
I'm doing very well. So, shelf-stable, artificial, dried whole blood. That's the name of the innovation here. How and why is this going to help in emergency medicine and potentially prevent some of these 30,000 deaths?
Sure. It will help because it will improve the availability of a blood type product in places where they're not available now. As you mentioned, the vast majority of preventable deaths from severe bleeding occur before people even get to the hospital. So if we have a dried whole blood type product, it can be put on helicopters and ambulances and save people's lives who are massively bleeding, which actually occurs more often than you might think.
Components of this artificial blood. From what my apologies. Go ahead.
And it's more than just traumatic injuries too. There's many other types of severe bleeding, to include post-pregnancy complications, patients with gastrointestinal bleeding, infections, etc.
So from what I understand, this artificial blood, most of the components have actually been recently developed. They've been very recently innovated. Tell us about some of the components.
Yes, with recent advances in science, we've been able to develop artificial red cells that can be dried, and these work just the same way a human red cell does. Companies have also been able to make dried artificial platelet-like products that help with clotting. And we've had dried plasma around for almost 60 to 80 years. It was used in World War II. So when you deconstruct whole blood into red cells, plasma, platelets, and when you can dry each component, now it allows us to put them back together again in ways that are optimized for patients with massive bleeding.
So what are the challenges in putting these components back together again? We have all the components. What problems do we need to tackle in making whole blood out of them?
The two main challenges are compatibility. You want to make sure that they don't interact with each other after they're given to a patient. And then also, what's the right proportions of putting them back together again? For patients who are massively bleeding, they might need more platelets or plasma relative to red cells. So it's almost what proportion do you put them back together again? And that's what this 4-year project will do. It's 4 years of funding with 7 or 8 universities across the country, multiple companies that are going to work together collaboratively to figure out how to prevent them from interacting adversely, and what's the right proportions to put them back together again.
Well, thank you, Dr. Spinella, for taking some time out of your schedule to join us on Pitt to the Point this morning. We look forward to seeing, hopefully, some lives saved by this innovation. I hope I don't need to use it in the future, but for Pitt to the Point, I'm medical reporter Joey Tebben. Jamie and Josh.
Joey, and thank you, Doctor, for coming on the show. It's no secret that Pitt is the starting point for countless impressive and very successful alumni. And our next alumni spotlight is no exception.
From being part of Obama's White House to working in 2 different roles with the Department of Housing and Urban Development, Pitt alum Dantalisha Deans has always had an eye on helping others. And now she's returning home to help Pitt in a new way.
So my name is Dantalisha Deans, and I graduated with my master's in social work from the School of Social Work at Pitt in December of 2012. I actually started my career after graduating with my master's in the School of Social Work. I first worked in the Center on Race and Social Problems. From there, I then went on to work in the federal service as a presidential management fellow in the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, a lot of work around performance management and employee engagement. I served the people who serve the people. Then from there, I also was able to do a stint at the White House. I worked under the Obama administration for the Presidential Personnel Office, essentially helping to create leadership development training for the nation's leaders. And then shortly after that, learned about this role that I'm in now at the university, and I am working as the first development director for diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. I really believe that in all that I say, all that I do, I want to leave a positive impact. I think that I've truly been able to do that I've been able to leave a positive mark in some way, form, or fashion. We have some work to do, and so it's going to take time. Nothing happens overnight, but I'm excited to be the person that can be, supportive in this role and supportive to the university in this way.
Okay.
Apologize for the technical. It's been in movies as the same in La La Land and Happy Feet. Tap dancing is one of the most popular and noisy styles of dance. And one Pittsburgh is breathing new life into the art.
For more on him and tap dance.
Non-traditional route, he has created quite the resume for himself so far. Years of hard work and perseverance have brought him to this point, which have been fueled by the love of his hard work. He's working towards.
Hi, I'm Natalie Bellin, and this week's entertainment segment for Pitt to the Point, I'll be interviewing Zach Starr, tap dancer at Extreme Dance and Tumbling Center. Let's go.
Hi, my name is Zach Starr. I'm 16 years old. I'm from Pittsburgh, and I teach tap dance, and I also perform with other bands around the city. So my mentors are Jason Samuel Smith, Sarah Reich, and Jared Grimes. That's my three main mentors right now. I'm really focusing with Jason on trying to learn the dance and the history of the dance, and the very importance of the history of what we do is really important to me and to everyone in the tap community. What sets me apart from the rest of the tap dancers, I would say, is the fact that I'm open to any ideas regarding tap. I'm very open to working with musicians, theater work, and really any work, like teaching, anything like that. I'm really open to it, and I'm really looking at what I can do with tap dance and how I can elevate this art form. I would say the difference between the old school method compared to like competitive now, where it's kind of changed a little bit. In old school, we learn more about the background of the dance and more of why we do it, rather than just doing it and showing it to a judge and them giving us a score on it.
Ready? Let's try. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Rooting for you, and we want to see your name in lights. For Pitt to the Point, I'm entertainment reporter Natalie Bellin. Jamie, Josh?
Thank you, Natalie. Now, we want to sincerely apologize on behalf of everyone here at Pitt to the Point for the ongoing technical difficulties. Sometimes you just get bad luck. It's nobody's fault. We're a team. Coming up, we'll be taking a look at how Pitt is honoring Black History Month through their athletics department.
Also, after the break, we have some exciting news about a history-making guest that will be joining us next week.
All this and more coming up on Pitt to the Point. Hello and welcome back to Pitt to the Point. A popular museum in Pittsburgh is reopening after a month of being closed. The Fort Pitt Museum is open again after a brief period of closure for a deep cleaning.
During their downtime, the crew at Fort Pitt spent their time learning about new topics to enrich their museum. For more on this, we go to our City Beat reporter, Jordan Sapp. Jordan?
The Fort Pitt Museum in Point State Park is home to the birthplace of Pittsburgh and its complex history. While their blockhouse is over 250 years old, we'll take a look at the museum's recent history just last month.
This time around, in terms of the museum itself, it was pretty much cleaning and putting everything back together. We did, however, do a big trip to Oklahoma to do some workshops with the American Indian tribes that would have been present here in the 18th century, the Shawnee, Delaware, Seneca, Cayuga. So that was kind of one of the big things that we did in January, was actually a road trip out to Oklahoma. The trip this year was to kind of do some outreach with the American Indian tribes that were present here in Western Pennsylvania, but are not present here anymore due to a long history of removal that began in the 18th century and for them continued up until the 1830s. This was a chance for us to kind of go out there and work with them directly as part of our American Indian initiative here at the Fort Pitt Museum and the Heinz History Center. So the main work that we were kind of engaged in with this trip to Oklahoma was to focus on kind of replicating objects from their 18th century material culture. And then I did a class on replicating a historic buffalo horn spoon that is on loan from the family that owned it. It was brought back by this woman, Catherine Bard, in 1760 or 61. It was given to her by her Delaware family that had adopted her, and that's on display here at the Fort Pitt Museum. So it was kind of a way to go out there and kind of work on some of these projects with them in their own home territory. It's something that we hope to work with them on, to incorporate into the permanent exhibits, but also to have them continue to come here for living history stuff, but also to come as presenters, to talk about their present day history and culture. In terms of what people can expect when they come down here, there are all sorts of things to do. We try to keep things changing. We try to keep a slate of programs. We have a speaker series that we put on throughout the course of the year, and we try to get people to come down and kind of see something different each time they visit the museum. And we're open 10 to 5 every day here in historic Point State Park, and so we'd love to have you come down and see the museum.
The Fort Pitt Museum is one of many that Pitt students can get into for free. Their current temporary exhibition is open until April 2nd. For Pitt to the Point, I'm City Beat reporter Jordan Sapp. Jamie, Josh?
Thanks, Jordan. Coming up, more excitement on Pitt to the Point and how you can watch it.
Coming up next on Pitt to the Point. Stay tuned, folks.
Officially back and in the books.
Stefanski just shoots and she scores. They're the winningest team in Pittsburgh history.
Ball sent in, Sullivan, Pittsburgh, 1-0.
Great strike, Michael Sullivan.
Pittsburgh has a share of the ACC title in 2022.
The record set by Tony Dorsett has been broken by Israel Abanikanda here.
The Pitt Panthers are going into the next round for the first time in program history.
Welcome back to Pitt to the Point.
It's no secret that Pitt is home to many athletic greats, from Tony Dorsett to Aaron Donald to now Darrelle Revis in the Hall of Fame. Pitt has a storied history of producing fine athletes.
And the best earn a spot in the Pitt Athletic Hall of Fame. For more on some of the individuals that made Pitt Athletics stellar, we go to our Pitt sports reporter, Tanaja Riera. Tanaja?
Thanks, Jamie. Today, we're going to be going into the Pitt Hall of Fame as they just established this back in 2018. From Jerome Lane to Lori Johnson to Trisha K. Smith, we're going to go back into a time behind in the Pitt Hall of Fame. Jerome Lane was on the Pitt Panthers men's basketball team from 1985 till 1988. He then got drafted to the NBA by the Denver Nuggets and went on to play for the Indiana Pacers, Milwaukee Bucks, and Cleveland Cavaliers. Lori Johnson played from 1987 till 1991. Her Pitt all-time career shooting record is 2,312 points. Her jersey was retired at a basketball game on January 13th in 2019, and she also is the first female to have her jersey retired for Pitt. She passed away at the age of 51 in March of 2020. Tony Dorsett played for the Pitt football team from 1973 till 1976. He won 1 Super Bowl and played in 2, and also played in 4 Pro Bowls. He was elected into the College and Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1994. His Pitt jersey, number 33, is now retired. Roger Kingdom was on the Pitt Panthers track team from 1981 till 1984. He first came to Pitt on a football scholarship and then decided to focus on track. He then became a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. In 1989, he set a world record of 12.92 seconds in the 110-meter hurdles in Switzerland. The record stood until 1993.
Kingdom comes powering through now. Jackson's hitting the hurdles. Kingdom is an emphatic winner. Jackson second place. Campbell is third, and it's 12.89. The world record has gone to Roger Kingdom. It stood on this track, set on this track by Ronaldo Nehemiah 8 years ago, and Kingdom has smashed it to smithereens.
Trisha K. Smith was on the Pitt Panthers track team from 1995 till 1999. She won 7 individual NCAA championships, 4 indoor, 3 outdoor, all in the events of long or triple jump. She is a 15-time All-American and 14-time Big East champion. She went on to represent her home country of Jamaica in the 2005 Summer Olympics. Also, going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, just announced last night at the NFL Honors, is Darrelle Revis. He will be the 10th Pitt alum to go into the Football Hall of Fame. So hopefully we'll get more in there, as the Pitt Panthers football team has been drafting multiple players in the past couple seasons. From Pitt to the Point, I'm your Pitt sports reporter, Tanaja Riera. Jamie, Josh?
Thanks, Tanaja. We here at Pitt to the Point are extremely excited and honored to announce that we have a history-making guest joining us next week.
We are proud to be joined by Olympic bronze medalist John Carlos. He is most known for his show of Black pride and solidarity on the Olympic podium by raising the Black Power salute.
John Carlos will be joining us next week for an exclusive interview where we'll be discussing his athletic career, as well as the pivotal moment that made him a historical icon. That interview can only be seen right here on Pitt to the Point. You won't want to miss it.
After the interview, Carlos will be giving a talk on Friday evening, which you can find streamed on the Pitt to the Point YouTube page and website. It is definitely a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so please tune in next Friday.
With over 600 clubs on campus, there is truly something to fit everyone's interest here. However, we're going to have to hear about it after the break, so stay tuned. You'll want to find out what it is.
here, forged in the spirit of change, pushing to answer the questions and then questioning the answers, embracing each challenge as fuel for reinventing the world. Because here, leadership, courage, creativity, innovation, and progress are always in progress. The University of Pittsburgh, forge ahead.
Welcome back to Pitt to the Point. I want to reiterate, we really apologize for the technical difficulties. Let's get into clubbing at Pitt, though.
With over 600 clubs on campus, there's truly something to fit everyone's interest. However, you'll have to see that next week. Our little way of bringing you back to the show.
Yeah, if you like Monopoly, though, we got you covered. And I know I'm not supposed to point at the camera, but you're going to love this. Let's get it going. Let's see what this Monopoly game is all about.
The first person to bring me a thimble gets a free Pittsburgh Monopoly game.
I love this. Can I just take a picture? What's a thimble?
They didn't know what a thimble was.
How long are you gonna stand here? Is there a camera?
Thimble. Oh god. Oh god.
I got you, bro.
I don't know how you're doing that. That's insane. I was looking at it. I was like, he has to be a statue or something because he's standing so perfectly still. Good for you. Oh, God. I'm going thimbles.
First of all, Monopoly is way too long.
What's a thimble? A thimble's the one you wear on your thumb to sew so you don't hurt yourself.
I like your outfit, my friend. I need to figure out what a thimble is.
Oh my gosh, you did it!
Oh my God, yeah!
Congrats!
Oh my God, thank you!
Do you want to wave to them?
Hi!
Good job!
Thank you to the Department of Communications for giving us that interesting video.
Yeah, I certainly thought it was interesting, although the people seemed a little put off by it out there. Don't blame them. Anyways, stick around next week and the week after that because Pitt to the Point will be airing at 8 a.m. every Friday right here on pittothepoint.com, the YouTube channel, or the Pitt website. And also you can catch us in a taped version on the KDKA cable channel affiliate and CBS News streaming platform. It's only going to get better and better, folks, and you're going to want to follow your biggest and favorite stories here at Pitt to the Point.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, our time for the week is up. If you enjoyed this show, like Josh said, we're on next week and the week after that, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. to get your best source of Pittsburgh and University of Pittsburgh news.
And for Jamie Ailey, I'm Josh Byrne. It's been a pleasure, folks. As always, all the love.